Now, as the post office strike enters its 10th week, the Communication Workers Union is expected to brief employers on the feedback from its members. Workers are demanding a 15% pay increase, while casual staff want permanent positions. The strike has brought postal services to a virtual standstill. The offer from the South African Post Office includes a one-off return to work of 1,500 Rand in payment, or a 6% wage increase. The CWU says the organisation also made an undertaking to convert about 1,300 casual postal employees a year for the next 3 or 4 years. Well, joining us from our Pretoria studios, Communications Officer at the Department of Telecommunications and Postal Services, Siya Qoza. Siya, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Firstly, does the Ministry know if there's been any acceptance of the proposals put forward by the Post Office? What's the latest on the ground as far as you know?
Thanks very much for the opportunity to talk to you and your viewers. At this stage, we are not aware of what exactly has the Post Office workers and management agreed to at this stage. What we have been trying to do is to try and secure a high-level agreement wherein the workers will return to work so that the Post Office is effectively functional, and we need that to happen as soon as possible. Over the weekend, we continue to try and get all of the stakeholders involved at the Post Office to be on board and agree on a program wherein people will then get back to work, and then the bargaining issues that you've raised, like the agreement on salaries, can then be properly agreed to in the bargaining chamber there.
All of this revolves around the health of the Post Office. Siya, what can you tell me about the financial state of the Post Office? Is it insolvent or not?
Well, the annual report of the Post Office has not been tabled in Parliament at this stage, and part of the reason for it not being tabled is because the department is engaging with the National Treasury on some aspects in relation to the Post Office. And there's also the auditors, I'm told, have not also finalized the reports. So until the report is finalized, we'll be able to provide additional comment in relation to the financial health of the Post Office.
Well, I see opposition parties asking now for, among them, the Democratic Alliance and the Freedom Front Plus, asking for government to actually put forward a bailout for the Post Office. Has that alternative been considered by the Ministry, and what is your response to such a call?
Well, we did note the call by the opposition parties. Well, they are well within their rights to make such calls. What government does broadly, I don't want to respond to this question directly, but I'm going to give you my understanding of how government looks at such calls for bailouts. The bailout would be for investment in infrastructure. At this stage, I don't think that the Post Office is looking to invest in infrastructure, so I don't think that it would be likely that the Post Office will be bailed out in these financial challenges that it is facing. But the Post Office needs to look into its own balance sheet to try and find solutions to the challenges it is facing.
Mm-hmm. It brings into question as to whether or not there is a broad future plan for the Post Office in this country. Some say it's obsolete. As far as the Ministry is concerned, is there a future roadmap for this institution?
Well, the Post Office is a very important institution of our democracy. It has got a very large reach, and it reaches people in rural areas. So we can use it to deliver government services in those areas. Interestingly, in March, we went on a countrywide to try and ask South Africans what is it that they would like to see change in the space of information and telecommunication space. 8 of the 9 provinces in the country said that they want a vibrant post office, and they also want a post office that offers more services to them. So clearly, South Africans want the post office to be around, and we are doing everything possible to make sure that the post office is sustainable. And one of the things that we need at this point is that the workers do go back to work. as quickly as possible.
In order to have that vibrancy and that efficient deliveries, you need a board that can deliver that. I mean, the ministry is the biggest shareholder of the post office. It determines the board. What have you made of the calls for the board to resign? The unions are saying they've had a number of agreements and the board has not implemented any of them. So let's just talk about the board now. What's the perspective on those calls for the board to resign?
Well, if you're looking at the post office, it's facing numerous challenges in different levels. So the call by the CWU is one of the calls that we have noted. But for us to be able to address the challenges at the post office, you need a holistic approach. And that holistic approach is going to have layers to it. One layer is for workers to be back at work. The other layer is to look at how we exercise oversight over the post office and how the board exercises oversight over management. A lot of those processes will take some time, and of course we are looking at all of them to make sure that it is as strong as to make sure that the post office is as strong as possible.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Sia Xoza from the Telecommunications and Postal Services Ministry. Thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you.